All right, let's talk about how to calculate inflation on your retirement income. And I'm going to give you 3 ways to do that. The first way is a really simple way to calculate inflation on your retirement income. And the way to do that is to not count inflation on your retirement income. Because what we have to figure out before we start factoring in inflation, taxes, vacations, any other spending that we want in retirement, we have to come to find out, do I have enough to retire? Do I have enough retirement assets to retire? So let's look at this. This is what I call a base calculation. It's a future cash flow calculation, and you can do this on Google. You can just Google future cash flow calculation, or you can use, what kind of calculator? This is an HP, a Hewlett-Packard 10B Plus. I've had this for like 15 years. And you can get one on Amazon. I've got a link in the description if you want one. But this is how you do a future cash flow calculation to find out, just do I have enough to retire? And what we're trying to build is the foundation to our retirement income strategy. Because once we figure out, do I have enough? Then we start adding in inflation, vacations, college planning, whatever else you want to do in retirement. So I've got a 60-year-old individual. They've got $1 million. They need $40,000 a year in retirement income. Okay, they need $40,000 for the rest of their life. Now, obviously, 10 years from now, $40,000 is going to be a lot different. Inflation between 2019 and now has grown by 15%. The Consumer Price Index, which measures inflation, has gone up 15% in over 3 years. So $40,000 3 years from now is not going to be worth $40,000, but we're just trying to get an idea, how long is my retirement income going to last? 6% is going to be our rate of return in the market, meaning this $1 million is going to be invested. It's going to earn 6% a year for the rest of this client's life. Now, that 6% is going to go up and it's going to go down, meaning there's going to be fluctuations in the overall market. What we're trying to do is just get, again, a base calculation. Now, the market, the stock market, has averaged, since 1900, has averaged 10%, but it's averaged 8% with inflation. So we're going to back off 2% because we're retired, okay? Now we're going to do this for 30 years, so age 60, we're going to get to 90. I want to see how much money we have at 90, taking out $40,000 a year. So if you're on Google or you have a calculator and you're doing a future cash flow calculation, $1 million is your present value, okay? You hit PV on your calculator or on the computer. $40,000 is your payment, PMT, on the calculation. 6% is your interest per year. That's our rate of return. So on the calculator, it's IYR, okay? 30 years is our N, our number of periods. 30 years, right? 30 periods. And we hit future value, which hits FV on the calculator or FV on your computer program, and that's going to give you $2.6 million. So this individual with $1 million taking $40,000 out a year has 2.6 after 30 years. But again, we still haven't factored in inflation. All right, the second way we calculate inflation on our retirement income is the approach that I call do it by hand. And that's the way that I had to learn when I was going through my financial planning school, is do it by hand. And let me show you how you do it. So again, same scenario. We have a 60-year-old individual. They've got $1 million. So we've got 2 years of income here. So we have year 1 and year 2, okay? And so in year 1, we've got $1 million. We've got $40,000 in income that we need, retirement income that we need in retirement. We've got 6%. Again, those retirement investments are going to stay invested. 6% is going to be our rate of return, and we're going to do this for 1 year. At the end of 1 year, taking out $40,000 from our retirement investments, we've got $1,029,559 in retirement investments. So now, that's year 1. But we want to calculate inflation on this $40,000, and we're going to do this by hand. So essentially, you take the $1,029,000 that you had in year 1, you put it up on year 2. This is year 2. You start with that figure, but now you have to inflate your expenses. So how do you get the inflation figure? Well, inflation's running at 3.24%. That's the 108-year average, 3.24%. So you take your retirement income need, which is $40,000. You multiply that by 0.0324. 0.0324, and that gives you $1,296, meaning your $40,000 has grown, your retirement income need is going to grow by $1,296 in year 2. So now you need $41,296. Same scenario, 6% rate of return on our retirement investments. We're going to do this for 1 year. Our $1,029,000 grows to $1,041,000. Now, you want to continue this process on for 30, 40 years, however long you plan on being in retirement, and you just keep going down the sheet of paper. Now, an easy way to do this is using an Excel spreadsheet or a numbers spreadsheet, depending on if you're a Mac or a PC user. If you are fluent in those, you can easily just fill in a figure and pull it down, and it's going to give you the values. But this is a good way to get it just ingrained. How do I do this calculation? All right, the last way that you can calculate inflation on your retirement income is to do a detailed calculation. Now, a detailed calculation is something where you need software, something where you need to be able to calculate different factors. You want to look at inflation and multiple levels of inflation. What is real inflation? What's nominal inflation? What would inflation look like if we had this decade, maybe the 70s to the 80s? What would inflation look like in my retirement if I lived through the decade of 2000 and 2010 for inflation? So we want to look at multiple areas of inflation. Social Security. We need to know, when are we going to claim Social Security? Is it at 62? Is it at 67? Is it 70? How is the cost of living adjustment that Social Security gets every year? How is that going to impact our retirement income and inflation? What about taxes? Required minimum distributions. You're going to pay a lot of taxes in retirement, a lot more than you think, because Social Security is going to be taxed, money coming out of your 401k is taxed. So we need to look at taxes and say, okay, how is this going to affect our retirement investments as inflation goes up? We pay more taxes. What's that going to do to our overall retirement income plan? We want to look at historical markets. Now remember, history doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. So what the market has done the last 10 years might not be what it does the next 10 years, but surely we can look back to 1850 and find some markets to give us some comparisons, right? We want to compare some markets to say, okay, if we have the worst market, the lost decade from 2000 to 2010, during the first 10 years of our retirement, what's that going to do to our retirement investments? So we want to look at that, add it in with inflation. And what about rates of return? What if we want to run our investments at a 6% rate of return, a 4% rate of return, an 8% rate of return? What are the ranges of how much retirement investments I have at the end of 30 years? And we call it a Your Financial EKG. And this can only be done in a detailed software package. Now listen, if you want some more information about a Your Financial EKG, in the comment section below there's a booklet called The Roadmap to Retirement. It's a great little booklet about retirement income. Click on that link, download that booklet, and select the box that, yes, I want to meet with a retirement advisor. That's me, and we can put together a detailed financial EKG for you to make sure that you're going to get to retirement, you're going to get through retirement, but we're going to protect your ability to stay in retirement. Thank you so much for watching today. God bless. Bye-bye.